Today I just want to give the brief COVID update, which of course is really good news for Queensland. So once again we've had 0 new cases. So our total cases are 1,320. We have 7 active cases, and in the last 24 hours we've had 5,656 tests. So once again, that's great news, and Queenslanders, please continue to go and get tested, especially if you are feeling sick. So I might just ask Gary to come over, and the Deputy Premier and the Treasurer. And today we're here to showcase to Queensland what Rheinmetall is doing for this region. I was very clear that I wanted to bring more manufacturing to Queensland, and that is exactly what we are doing. This landmark Milveco headquarters here, the production line that's happening, opens up this gateway between Toowoomba and Ipswich and the Gold Coast to really supercharge our defence industries in this state. This is something my government has been passionate about. We want more manufacturing to be done here in Queensland. We want things to be made here in Queensland. But I also want to ensure that our future generation capitalises on the opportunities that it presents. At the last election, we went to the election talking about local schools and local jobs. Well, here in Ipswich, this is a centre point. This has the opportunity to create thousands of jobs. Already 350 people are working on this site. This centre did not close during COVID. Manufacturing is alive and well here in Queensland, and it is going to continue to go ahead in years to come. So today we've got students from a whole range of schools around the region here, and I wanted to show them firsthand so they can see the opportunities that manufacturing presents to them. Now we've got advanced manufacturing, but there are a whole range of jobs, whether it's welders, whether it's painters, whether it's electricians. There are already 11 apprentices on site as well. But there's even more opportunities, especially when it comes to artificial intelligence, partnering with universities and partnering with TAFE. This is going to mean that our defence industries are going to continue to grow in this state, and the opportunities for Queensland are real, and the opportunities will continue for decades to come. So today the Deputy Premier will go into a bit more detail, but Gary and I have signed an MOU because we want to go for the next phase 3 of the contracts with the federal government. So what that means is the Queensland government is once again partnering with Rheinmetall to say that we want to expand even further here and build even more vehicles here in Queensland. The next phase is a $27 billion contract which could deliver 450 infantry fighting vehicles for the Australian Army. Now, I think we have got the credits on the board. We have the capacity, we have the technology, and we have the centre to do this expansion. So we will be fighting very hard for Queensland. We'll be fighting hard to say to the Australian government, this is where it should go. Now we're in competition with Victoria, and we all like a healthy competition, and we were able to secure the boxes to be built here, and now we are going to fight every step of the way along with Rheinmetall to help secure this next phase, and it would mean 500 additional jobs on top of the jobs that are already here. So look, I'll hand over to Gary, and then the Deputy Premier, the Treasurer will say a few words, and then we're happy to take some questions. But this is about opportunity. The next 4 years are years of action. They are absolutely years of action. I said I wanted manufacturing to be more here in Queensland, and that is exactly what I'm doing, and I want our students and our workers to benefit because there is dignity in having a job, and there is absolutely dignity in making sure that people can live close to home and have a long-term secure job.
Thank you, Premier. Premier, Deputy Premier, Treasurer, Ministers of Queensland Government, guests, welcome to the Military Vehicle Centre of Excellence. I am delighted that we've been able to sign the Memorandum of Understanding here today at Milveco, signifying and reaffirming the strong partnership that the Queensland Government and Rheinmetall have really entered into since 2017, And today we are seeing the realisation of that partnership and what it means for the Australian Defence Force in terms of designing and building world's best capabilities, but also for being a strong contributor to the Queensland and Australian economy, made even more critical as a result of the COVID situation last year, and what we've been able to continue to do in activating one of the world's best advanced manufacturing military vehicle centres of excellence. It is the best factory in Rheinmetall's global portfolio today, and employing already well over 300 people here on site. We have already awarded millions of dollars into Queensland companies in the last 6 months associated with our current programs, and we continue to look for and award work to Queensland companies and employ Queenslanders to be involved in what will be a long-term defence industry here in Australia. The Memorandum of Understanding we've signed today really signifies the strength of that partnership and what we have been able to create already as a foundation for a skilled workforce, a skilled industrial base that is able to build the best capabilities for the Australian Defence Force, and also to contribute to the strong economic recovery and growth of Queensland. It's also got a very strong skilling and trades approach, and it is with delight that we have hosted 16 high school students from 6 local high schools to show them that the vocational training program that is being instigated by the Queensland Government to bring them into vocational trade training sooner, and connecting them to the apprenticeship program and the partnership we already enjoy with Queensland TAFE to provide and show how we can provide a very clear pathway into rich and rewarding careers, whether it's professional or vocational professions. That's how we build a sustainable and enduring economic base and foundation for Queensland and for Australia. Premier, I thank you for your passion and your support in believing in this partnership, in backing Queenslanders and backing jobs for Queenslanders. The partnership with Rheinmetall will see us continue to build on that joint vision and to go after and hopefully secure Land 400 Phase 3 and many other significant programs for the decades to come. Thank you.
Well, thanks so much, Gary. I've heard a lot about this place, but it's my first time here, and I've got to say I'm just so impressed. It's quite incredible, and this is hundreds of high-skilled jobs for Queenslanders, as well as training opportunities for apprentices and school students that wouldn't be here if it weren't for our partnership and our efforts to develop a defence industry manufacturing capability here in Queensland. And the MOU that Gary and the Premier have just signed is all about taking that to the next level. We want to win this Land 400 Phase 3 initiative that will allow Rheinmetall here to create hundreds more jobs in supply chains, local manufacturing supply chains, and not just short-term jobs either, jobs right out until 2032. And so we look forward to continuing to work really closely to implement this MOU, to hopefully winning that contract at the end of the year and seeing hundreds more Queenslanders get those good high-skilled jobs, those training opportunities well into the next decade.
Well, when the Holden assembly line closed in Adelaide, people thought that was the end of the automotive manufacturing experience in Australia. Well, our Premier and our government thought differently. And in this facility here today, you see the future of automotive manufacturing in our country. Not just creating the best fighting vehicles in the world for the Australian Army, but making them for the rest of the world. And as the Premier said, we can make the best in Queensland for the best, being our Australian Defence Force, and for the world. So this Memorandum of Understanding signed today is a real signal of our commitment to the future. Not just to the future of securing a $27 billion contract that will create hundreds and thousands of indirect jobs across Queensland, but sending a strong signal that we are in it for the long term. We are in it to create a long-term manufacturing future for Queensland. It's why manufacturing was a central part of our economic development strategy, which we took to the people at the last election, which we've now embedded in our budget. And delivering manufacturing jobs for the Queenslanders of today and the Queenslanders of the future is so important for our government as we recover from COVID-19. Queensland's always been at the front line of Australia's defence. Now we are at the front line of Australia's defence manufacturing capability. Not only are we the maroon state, we are going to be the khaki manufacturing state, and that's going to go on for many years to come.
Thanks, Premier.
Well, welcome to wonderful Ipswich, and what's happening here at Rheinmetall. Not only are we seeing the fruits of a $5.2 billion contract, and we'll be looking for another $27 billion advanced manufacturing contract for Phase 3 later on this year, but this is really the work of our $5 million Ipswich Defence Hub and our Premier and our government's commitment to advanced manufacturing here, right in Queensland, that's delivering jobs, economic stimulus and training opportunities, including partnering with our local universities and TAFEs for our young workers.
Thanks, Lance. The other thing I should mention too is that the Cabinet will be meeting here today because I want the entire Cabinet to see firsthand what we are doing right here in Queensland. So we're going to be doing more of that this year. We're going to be out and about in industries across Queensland, meeting with the workers, meeting with the project managers, and it's great today to have students from Woodcrest, Forest Lake, Springfield, Redbank, Bundamba and Inala. So we're happy to take some questions on this first to either myself or Gary or any of the relevant ministers.
When are you expecting a decision on this Phase 3 contract?
Yeah, my understanding is that later this year there will be a decision made by the federal government. I'll just confirm that with Gary. Yes.
Correct. And your role, the state role, you're basically sort of chief spruiker lobbying for Queensland. Have you putting any money in or anything like that?
We'll be working with Rheinmetall. There may be some great opportunities for further training capacity, training enhancement, so that's something that the government will work through with Rheinmetall, because if I can create more jobs here, I absolutely will do that.
So will there be a financial commitment from the state?
At this stage, no, but down the track, maybe.
Premier, why sign this MOU? Do you feel like the Queensland government hasn't been acknowledged for its support of Rheinmetall?
No, Rheinmetall's been very supportive of us, and we've been very supportive of them. I can remember when our Cabinet Budget Review Committee made that very first decision to partner with Rheinmetall, and Anthony Lynham flew over to Germany to put Queensland's case. We have been in the box seat for this since day one.
When are you going to have a ride in the boxer?
I don't need to have a ride, I can see them firsthand, and I'm actually more inclined to meet with the workers, because it's the workers that are building those boxes.
On COVID, how are we on
Yep.
the New Zealand situation? I think there's an Auckland flight tonight arriving. How's that affecting?
Okay, so the Deputy Premier and I were briefed on the issues around New Zealand at the moment. My understanding is that Auckland has gone into a short, swift lockdown, not dissimilar to what Greater Brisbane did. And my understanding is that flights will be halted during that time, or if people are coming here, they'll have to do mandatory hotel quarantine.
Where are those 1,500 people that were contact traced? Are they all being tested now?
I'll get an update on that later on this afternoon, but from yesterday, I think it was about 800 DP that had been...
About 50 left to contact.
50 left to contact, but about 800 had been tested and had come back with a negative.
And have you been given a clearer indication about when Queenslanders will get the vaccine? Given it's on its way?
Look, Claire, it's a really good question. So we heard news that shipments of Pfizer are coming in. My understanding is that they will be making sure that the batches are correct. And then towards the end of the month, there'll be a slow rollout. I think there's a minimal quantity that is coming in at the moment, but I'm quite sure that the Prime Minister will update our National Cabinet with progress. At the moment too, we have actually asked one of our senior health officers to go to Canberra to embed themselves in that National Coordination Centre, because I want to absolutely know that everything that is being done will be done, and I want that presence of a Queensland representative in that National Coordination Committee to ensure that the rollout is going to plan.
So you haven't been given a date yet or anything?
We're working towards, I think it was end of February, the Prime Minister said.
We've been threatened to have the Corona service taken away from us due to the lack of state funding. Will you be putting in any?
Look, my understanding there is, and I might get, the DP might have some further information on this, but my understanding is that unfortunately we were not able to get to an agreed COVID-safe plan with the people who would be coming in. Now that is absolutely crucial because COVID-safe plans for sport have kept Queenslanders safe, and if the Chief Health Officer is not happy with that COVID-safe plan, well then, it can't go ahead.
What's the vaccination benchmark where we will no longer have to see hotspots being declared? Is it 70%, 80%, what percent of the population will need to be vaccinated in other parts of Australia before we stop declaring hotspots?
I don't have that information, Lydia. I mean, this is an evolving situation. What we are seeing is some preliminary results out of the UK saying it is having some effect, which is good. We will need to see more of those results. But, the World Health Organisation is very much saying that we have to vaccinate. And, Dr. Jeanette Young has said that it is safe. And if she says it's safe, I'll be having the vaccine and everyone else should have the vaccine.
What
because
month do you expect all Queenslanders to be vaccinated?
Well, that depends on the federal government's rollout plan. So like I said, we've got a Queenslander that's going to be embedded in that National Coordination Unit, but we want to make sure that the rollout of the vaccine is smooth, and I look forward to further updates from the Prime Minister on the vaccine rollout.
There's 5 hubs where it's going to be rolled out to. Will there be an order of preference in terms of where the vaccine will go?
My understanding is that it will start in one hub first, just to do the testing, to make sure everything's fine, and then it'll be rolled out to the other hubs.
Which hub is that?
Sorry?
Which hub was that?
Yeah, Gold Coast. Okay.
When's how's the quarantine camp at Wellcamp? What's the latest on that? Are you expecting when to hear back from the Fed?
Well, I think what we have seen is that this UK variant is highly infectious. We've seen a shutdown of Greater Brisbane, areas in Perth, and now in Melbourne. It's highly infectious, and I think that the community would share my concerns that a regional quarantine prospect is a good idea.
We've seen 3 crop attacks in 3 weeks. We had a comment from Hokkaido this morning that the state government is costing lives. Will you be
It's an absolute tragedy what happened to that man, and can I pass on our condolences to his family? Absolutely horrific. My understanding is that there is a $6 million program that's given through Parks and Wildlife Service to roll out their awareness campaign. Problem crocodiles are removed from where they are, and if they are posing a risk, they will be removed and taken care of. But I do also believe that there is now perhaps some more heightened awareness in the north of our state, and I think it's very important that the parks officers, and I'll talk to the Environment Minister today, are engaging with the community about ensuring that people are absolutely well aware of the dangers. And I know they are in the north of our state, but of course we saw that tragedy happen just recently.
Are you talking more advertising or something for tourists and that sort of thing, locals?
Well, I think the locals are aware, but I just think we just need, if there are sightings, we need to make sure that the rest of the community knows where they are.
Do you think your management plan's working fine?
I'm going to ask the Environment Minister to look at that management plan and make sure that that $6 million is going to where it is needed the most.
Do you justice reforms in the last and probably introduce to Parliament next week? Are they ready committee?
My understanding is they will, yes. Yeah. Okay. All right, we've got a cabinet meeting. Okay, thanks everyone.